All right, all right. We usually have a little break, but we gotta catch up a little bit. We have a beverage demo coming. The Art of Crafting Sorel. Jackie Summers. Y'all know Jackie from Brooklyn right here. Y'all give it up for Jackie.
That was soft. Come on, get up like you. Better. Better.
Jackie and Will Coleman, who you met earlier in the cooking demo. He's going to be back with Jackie. They're going to be doing a demonstration. I'm going to say this, and I'm not being paid to say this. This right here, this sorrel, is one of the best liqueurs I've ever had in my life. Not just because he's a homie.
But
this is outstanding.
What you mean one of?
No money has been exchanged for me to tell him that either. This is beautiful. Where's Will? Oh, there we go. Come on up, Will. Get busy, brother. All right, Will and Jackie, everybody.
First of all, can we talk about this headshot of you? Like, that's nice.
Yo, thank you, Clay. Clay does all of the blacks. Clay makes us look good.
Yes. So tell me the first time that you had Sorel. Like, did you have this in a baby bottle? Like, when did you have this?
I remember being 5 years old.
No way.
My mother's parents are from Barbados. My father's parents are from Nevis St. Kitts. And every year they would take us to West Indian Day Parade, Labor Day in New York. And there's 2 million people in the street. And there's dancing, and there's music, and there's costumes. But for me, it was the food. I'm 5 years old, and I'm eating beef patty with cocoa bread, and roti, and doubles, and curry goat. And I'm washing it down with this red drink, non-alcoholic, because I was a child.
Some will say.
But I fell in love with sorrel as a kid. It's how I self-identify. This is me.
Yeah. I love certain dishes or beverages that have a much larger tie to culture than just the flavors itself. So how does sorrel play into Caribbean culture?
There's an argument that can be made that this is the cultural identifier, not just for Caribbean, but for the entire diaspora. It starts off in Africa. It finds its way to the Caribbean because of the transatlantic slave trade. This flower will only grow in that very narrow equator band. So enslaved Africans who had been moved alongside this flower in the bottom of boats, they plant the flower in the Caribbean, and they start making this beverage to remind themselves of home, to remind themselves of who they are.
So what are we making today?
Well, we're going to get the audience involved. Y'all feel like drinking?
They're here for a reason.
I mean, for real, like, y'all feel like having a little something. I'm going to need a little help from y'all, all right? We're going to pass out cups. And I'm going to need someone to be a responsible person. Come on. This is easy. Everyone going to get a cup. And KJ going to make sure everybody get a sip. But then we're going to show you how to use this. And here's the thing, right? This is good in all kinds of cocktails. But you could just drink this neat if you feel like it. Could you just make sure everyone in the audience gets a cup and a sip? Thank you so much.
So I have a question.
Shoot.
I'm like really impressed because I've seen a lot of Caribbean menus have this drink on it.
Right.
But you as a businessman, how have you kind of defined this to be your creation and like taking the lead on producing mass bottles at such a amazing value?
There's a couple of things I always want to say as a disclaimer. It's not my story. I do not own this story.
Not your story.
The story has been going on for centuries. I am proud to contribute to the story to make sure that it's bigger after I'm gone. This is not meant to ever be a definitive version. This is an homage to sorrel. And you have to say it's an homage because every island does a different version relative to what indentured servants were living alongside the enslaved Africans. So if you went to Jamaica, a high population of enslaved indentured Chinese. So ginger in everything. If you go to Trinidad and Tobago, a high population of East Indian indentured servants. So not as much ginger, but cinnamon and nutmeg and clove. And also the Jamaicans, rum in everything. My grandfather was Bayesian. You have a cold, rum. You have a toothache, rum. You break your leg,
Rum.
rum.
See what the front row gets you?
There's two technical problems with sorrel as it is traditionally made. The first is most people do not know how to compensate for the acidity of the hibiscus. It ends up being super sugary and syrupy and just not fun. This has Sudanese hibiscus, Indonesian cinnamon and nutmeg, Brazilian clove, Nigerian ginger. This was made to balance out the flavors. So instead of it just being hibiscus all up in your face,
Which I've had before.
yes, clove for brightness, cinnamon for warmth.
Complex.
The dry nutty finish, that's nutmeg. The bright fruit floral flavors, that's hibiscus. And the ginger is doing the hard work of masking the alcohol. So you won't taste booze, but you will feel booze. The other technical problem with sorrel as it's traditionally made is rum, which is what most people of Caribbean descent add as the alcohol component, does not bond on a molecular level with the particulate matter in the mix. I was the first person to use a neutral grain at medicinal strength, which forms complex polysaccharide chains. It forms protein chains. Everything that is floating around clumps. We remove the clumps, run it through a filtration process, and what's left is beautiful and clear and shelf stable. This does not go bad. You can leave this out on your bar for 2-3 years, it will taste the same. So this is the first ever shelf stable version. Sis, you finished yours. We didn't even get started yet. We got to give Sis some more.
You say it can stay on your counter for 2 years, but I hope it's not on your counter for 2 years.
Listen, the beautiful thing about this as a beverage is the people who drink this, the people who buy it, you will go through a bottle, 2-3 people in a couple hours like a bottle of wine, because it drinks real easy.
Are there ways to enjoy it beyond straight out the bottle?
Yes, and we're going to, but wait, first, does everyone have a sip? Here you go.
Oh, there you go. One more. You got yours?
I'm gonna show you all a tasting trick, all right? Can everybody roll their tongue into a tube? It's a genetic thing that everyone can do it. Sis got it down. I'm not gonna ask how you know. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to roll your tongue into a tube. You're going to take a sip and let it sit in the middle of your tongue for 3 seconds. And then you're going to flatten out your tongue, and that's going to give you a full and complete taste experience. Okay? So, tongue like a tube. Take that first sip, let it sit in the middle of your tongue.
You have good jaw lines.
Yeah. Right in the middle of your mouth.
Why is that? Why does that influence the taste?
It's actually activating different parts of your taste zones in different ways. So, middle of your tongue, juicy, fruity, floral. Sides of your tongue, spicy. Back of your tongue, nutty. So you get all these flavors. And the best part about this, again, as a beverage, is it means you can mix it with anything. I mentioned earlier, I have a food scientist who is blind. And my food scientist jokes and says he can see flavor.
Wow.
So I asked him, when you taste Sorel, what do you taste? He's getting 200 different flavors. There's citrus, there's pine notes, there's savory notes, there's spice notes, there's floral notes. Whatever you like to drink, gin, vodka, rum, mezcal, tequila, bourbon, scotch, rye, sake, it mixes with this. Okay, did everyone get a little sip? 'Cause
Their cups are dry.
oh, we about to refill them, and I'll tell you why. So, for me, the whole purpose of this event is seeing how we can collaborate. I met this sister about 2 hours ago, right? If you haven't had this, they're right over there on the left. It is delicious. This is a pineapple hibiscus sparkling juice and a cranberry hibiscus sparkling juice.
Great for the holidays.
I'm gonna tell you all right now, this is gonna be the easiest cocktail you ever made. We're gonna take a little bit of Sorel. We're gonna add a little bit of this to it.
Right. Do we have any at-home bartenders here to turn the party up?
Hey,
Y'all good friends.
did y'all drink all of yours, or do you need a refill? Who need a refill?
Can I
Let's
get
pass around the refills. We're in 40 different states. We're all over New York.
All over New York.
I'm not selling here tonight.
Bed Vine.
Huh?
Bed Vine.
Bed Vine.
By my house.
Absolutely. Happy Cork, of course. You know we support the black-owned, woman-owned. Yes, please. So this is the easiest cocktail to do. Sorel and soda. And really, like, my favorite thing, Sorel and ginger beer. It's so easy. A little lime juice, good to go. But you can take whatever your favorite soda is and do a little Sorel, a little soda, throw in some lime, and you got your cocktail. You
This
get
is a
to
cocktail.
go. Yeah, this is easy.
Cheers, sir.
Yo, cheers.
I am seeing that people are starting to care a bit more about their beverages. It was always like just food on the plate.
Right.
But people are caring about the complex flavors and ingredient sourcing that are happening in the bottle.
Yes.
Are there any revolutions you're seeing in your industry currently in the beverage space?
What I find is there's no big liquor company that would have green-lit this beverage. The big boys cannot do this. Y'all can. There's no giant liquor company that would have given this the okay. How you can take an obscure thing like Sorel and make it the world's best-selling liqueur? They would never have thought of this, but I know y'all got ideas. I know that there's so many things that are still made in people's kitchens that we're gonna figure out how to take it, make it shelf stable, make them into brands, and make it profitable.
Yeah. Cheers, sir.
Cheers to that.
I'll be having this at Thanksgiving.
Hey. Which reminds me, you could cook with this too.
Oh, what? Tell me more.
I do a ham glaze.
Oh, yes.
A little butter, a little kosher salt, garlic.
Sorrel baked ham. Forget honey baked ham.
Let that reduce down till it's a glaze on a ham, or take that same glaze, pour it over vanilla ice cream.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
With some pound cake?
Yeah.
Stop playing. Well, cheers to you and your success.
Cheers. Did everybody get a drink? So
Any questions about Sorrel, the history?
before we go to the questions, can I share the family toast?
Please. Refill.
This toast has been in my family for generations. My mom gave it to me, her mom gave it to her. I do not know how far back it goes. It is call and response, so I think it might actually be African. One person says, "May you live forever." And the other person says, "May you never die." I gave this toast for decades and did not understand because everybody dies, nobody lives forever. And then I started working on this project and I realized it is not how long you are here on earth. It is, did you live a life worth telling stories about? Will they speak your name in 100, 200, 300 years? May you live forever. May you
Cheers.
never die.
May you never die. May you live forever. May you never die.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right, questions. SorelOfficial.com, SOREL official. You could go to the where to find, pop in your zip code. It'll tell you what's in your neighborhood, or you could just have it delivered to your house. We ship.
I actually have another question.
Shoot.
So when you're like pitching a business such as Sorel, you said everyone would tell you no.
Right.
We kind of all have these big ideas that we tell ourselves, everyone would tell us no. How did you move forward with creating your idea that you had passion behind, even though you thought everyone would tell you no?
I was born with I don't know what I can't do syndrome. You tell somebody in my family and they're like, I bet we doing it. So just because everybody will tell you no, don't let that be an impediment. Don't let that stop you. We have been doing impossible shit for centuries. The needle does not move itself. The scales do not balance themselves. We move the needle. We balance the scales. You want to change something? Don't wait for it to happen. Change it.
Yes.
Change it.
May you live forever.
May you never. I'm toast.
I'm sitting out all day.
Do we have any questions, though, for real? The most valuable lesson is be around good people. To do this, right? For all of the people here who are being entrepreneurs, you must be out of your goddamn mind.
Absolutely.
And I tell people, going crazy is easy. Staying crazy takes commitment. What lets me stay crazy is I'm surrounded by hyper sane people. So I get to be this batshit guy who's got these wild ideas, but then I throw it out to my team and I get
Don't look at me.
timeline, budget, resources, marketing, PR, sales. Like,
I love that.
be the crazy person, but have a very, very sane team around you.
Crazy gets you places.
Yes. Crazy get you places, but your sane team
Keeps you there.
They execute.
Yes.
They execute. Find people who can execute, please. You got to come closer. I can't hear you.
What do you
sis.
do when you realize you have to pivot? Instead of feeling like you're stepping into an episode of failure. What do you do when you realize you have to pivot, but you realize you don't want to like step into a pit of failure? I think for me, you got it?
All right, so
Support.
Only you know, right? To get this recipe right, I had 623 failures in my kitchen. You would think that a sane person around 500, trying number 500 would go, maybe this isn't working. So only you really know if you are willing to pay the price of persistence. Here's the thing about inspirational stories. Grit is expensive, and nobody can pay that for you. At the same time, when something's not working, be willing to take a step back and be honest with yourself. Truthfully say, is the problem me? Or is the problem that I work in a system that's designed for me not to succeed? And if the problem is the system and not you, break the fucking system.
Break the system. Also, don't run from failure. Embrace it. Failure is fun.
Failure is relative. If you are still trying, you haven't failed.
That's the fun part. It's the
Right?
you're breaking through.
right?
You ever fail?
If you do the thing and you learn the lesson and you apply it, that's not failure, that's a process. Nothing's gonna happen immediately.
Yeah.
Figure shit out by doing
You
it.
said over 600 times for this formula?
623 failures to get it right.
By 300, I would have been. I don't know.
Please, sir. So, hibiscus plants, the technical term is Roselle hibiscus. But when it got to the Caribbean, one of my best friends is a woman named Raneen Ganeshwaram, chef, author, historian. She told me how it got to be called sorrel. They started to make this, again, 500-600 years ago in the Caribbean, and it reminded them so much of what was being made at home. Again, they weren't taught to write or read, so the English was choppy. It started off as this so real. So real is where we get sorrel from.
Wow.
So real. Sorel. True.
I've said that before. This is so real. Any other questions?
Y'all feeling good? Please, sis. What made me know I had it right?
Great question.
So, again, the problem was creating shelf stability. I will never forget the eureka moment when I watched, because I was waking up every morning, making a batch, and throwing out gallons. I saw the chemical reaction of particulate matter coagulating and joining on a molecular level with the alcohol and the sugar, and everything beneath that coagulation was crystal clear. I knew I'd had it. And I want to say that the 623 failures, that was the easy part.
Right.
After
That's
that,
the fun part. You look back at it like, this
after
was
that, it
fun.
gets hard.
Yeah.
But that was the moment I knew I had a product. You have to document every single. So again, sorrel has been made lots of ways by lots of people. What's going in it? Is it going to be nutmeg? Is it going to be allspice? Is it going to be cardamom? In Jamaica, I know people who use Manischewitz wine. How are you making this? Finding the right balance of botanicals is really the trick. And it took hundreds of iterations, not just to pick out the right spices, but to get them in the right balance. The second trick was finding the right percentage of alcohol. At 10%, you do not trigger the molecular reaction you need to make it stable. At 17%, all you taste is alcohol. So I did versions starting at 10% straight to 30% to see which was the right amount. 15% is deliberate because it is the place where you get the chemical reaction, which makes yourself stable, but you don't taste the alcohol. You just feel the alcohol.
That's what I like.
So
So
again,
real.
document everything, because if you don't write it down, you don't know what to fix. Please. Oh. Here's the beautiful thing about this stuff. This was always meant to be tip of the spear. Again, there are so many things that we do that are made in people's kitchens that no one has figured out how to make it stable, how to brand it, how to market it, how to educate people. I got the next 4 or 5 lined up. I've had time for this. So yeah, we got brands for days. I'm in the middle of my funding round. Watch us. We got things in mind.
Unstoppable.
I mean, they could try, and for the record, they have tried, and they still trying. Let them. If they could have beaten us, it would have happened a long, long time ago. We've been winning for centuries. It may not feel like it, it may not look like it, but the fact that we can do this, when I started this, we couldn't have done this 10 years ago. There weren't enough of us. Now that we can have a whole ass conference to ourselves, this is what winning looks like. Imagine what it's going to be in another 10 years. Imagine the foundation you are laying right now for the next generation. You are all future ancestors. Act accordingly. And plus we're drinking, so it's all good. Any other questions? Because we could just keep drinking and talking shit. That's fine with me. Hey.
Well, thank you to you all.
Right.
Where can they find you and how they can get support?
The website is Sorel Official, S-O-R-E-L, 1 R. And by the way, Sorel, not Sorrel, because I have a speech impediment. I can't pronounce the letters R and L. So growing up as a child, trying to say sorrel is like trying to say rural or terror. It's an awful word. But,
You can say this.
8 years of enunciation class in public school. Thank you, New York City public school system.
Something.
And enunciation is a terrible word to make a kid with a lisp say. It's just mean. But here's what I learned from my speech pathologist. Words that end in a down sound are sad. You could be happy, or you could be happy. Sorrow is a sad word. Sorel is happy, and I can pronounce it. So it's called Sorel, so I don't sound like a dumbass every time I gotta say the name.
And it's happy.
Cheers. Y'all good? All right.
They itching to buy a bottle.
Oh, Sorel Official. This is a website. Sorel Official is the IG and the Facebook.
40 states available.
40 states. Just shipped our first pallets to Canada. First pallets went out to
You
Norway.
about to have the Canadians lit.
Right?
Hold
First pallets going out to the Virgin Islands next week.
on. Okay.
So we doing this. We doing this.
Nice job.
Cheers.
Cheers. Also, where can they find these cans?
Right over there, and I highly recommend. They're so good.
Sparkling juice.
They're
Cranberry
so good.
hibiscus.
Yeah.
Right.
Cheers.
Did it.
Oh, my bad. I was taking pictures.